everybody. I'm gonna be James' physical therapist today to assess his mid and lower cervical posture. His eyes, ears, shoulders are level, and there's no lateral tilt. From his lateral side, his ear is in line with his shoulder, and his cervical curvature looks good. From the posterior view, we can see that his ears and shoulders are level. Now I'm going to assess his active range of motion to see his comfortable limit of his motion, and I'm gonna assess the quality and quantity and his willingness to move. James, would you please bring your chin to your chest for me? Any pains?
No.
I'm gonna apply a little bit lower pressure on you in flexion. Any pains?
No.
Please go back up. The arthrokinematics for flexion is inferior facet of superior vertebrae slide superiorly anteriorly. James, would you please look up the safety for me? Any pains?
No.
I'm gonna apply a little bit of pressure in extension. Any pains?
No.
Please look back up. For extension, inferior facet of superior vertebrae slide posteriorly inferiorly. James, would you please bring your left ear to your left shoulder for me? Any pains?
No.
I'm gonna apply a little bit of pressure. Any pains?
No.
Okay. Do the same thing on the other side. Any pains?
No.
I'm gonna apply a little bit of pressure. Any pains?
No.
Okay. Please look at your left for me. Any pains?
No.
I'm gonna apply a little pressure on you. Any pains?
No.
Okay. Do the same thing on the other side. Any pains?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna apply a little bit of pressure. Any pains?
No.
Okay. The arthrokinematics for both lateral flexion and rotation are the same. Inferior facet of superior vertebrae slides inferiorly and slightly posteriorly on the ipsilateral side, and superiorly and slightly anteriorly on the contralateral side. I'm going to be assessing his passive range of motion. I'll put both of my hands behind his head and do flexion, and then I feel like there's an end feel and overpressure that. Come back, do extension, and then I feel there's end feel, and I do a gentle overpressure. His passive range of motion is good. Next, I'll do lateral flexion. There is an end feel, and I apply a little bit of overpressure. And then I can feel the end feel and do a little bit overpressure. His passive range of motion is good. Now, I'm gonna be doing rotation. Okay, and I apply a little bit of pressure, and I feel the end feel. The other side, gonna apply a little bit of pressure. Yeah. Okay, his passive range of motion is good. I'm going to be assessing his cervical passive intervertebral movement to see if there are any restrictions in his facet joints. So I'm gonna put my MCP on both of his articular pillars and give him some bend force. Okay, I'm feeling the opening on contralateral side and closing on ipsilateral side. I'm also feeling a downward gliding of his facet joint to see if there's any restrictions. For his neck, I think His neck is pretty good. Now I'm accessing his active range of motion of flexion and extension. I put the top inclinometer in the sagittal plane on the top of his head and the bottom one on his T1. Okay, would you please go ahead and bring your chin to your chest for me? Okay, the top one read 65 and the bottom one read 20. So his flexion is 45. For extension, I move the bottom inclinometer to the center of to across the center of his scapula spine to make sure it's not in the way of his extension. I zero the inclinometers. Would you please go ahead and look up the ceilings for me? Okay, the top one read 75. The bottom one read 25. So his extension is 50 degrees. Now I'm assessing his active range of motion of lateral flexion using inclinometers. I'm putting one inclinometer in the frontal plane on the top of his head, and another one on his T1, and then I zero it. And I zero both of inclinometers. Would you please bring your left ear to your left shoulder for me? Okay, the top one read 55, the bottom one read 10. So top one minus bottom one is his range of motion. Would you please go back up? Okay, his active range of motion of left lateral flexion is 45 degrees. Okay, I zero the inclinometers. Would you please bring your right ear to your right shoulder for me? Okay, the top one read 55 degrees, the bottom one read 5 degrees. So his right lateral flexion active range of motion is 50 degrees. Okay, zero the inclinometer, put on his forehead in the frontal plane. Would you please rotate your head to your left for me? It's 78 degrees. Would you please go back up? And would you please rotate your head to your right for me? Okay, it's 85 degrees. Come back up. He has more rotation on his right. I will be assessing his active range of motion of rotation using goniometers. Okay, the stable arm is in line with his acromion. The moving arm is in line with his nose. James, would you please look to your right for me? Is this as far as you can go?
Yeah.
Okay, this is 63 degrees. Would you please go back and would you please look to your left for me? Okay, this is 60 degrees. Okay, so his right rotation is a little bit larger than his left rotation.